Welcome to Portage la Prairie, Manitoba for Shaw TV's live coverage of the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic Final. This event is part of a World Curling Tour proudly sponsored by Canadians. Hello, I'm your host Blair Miles-Stravich, and we're just moments away from the matchup between Team Hasselborg and Team Roth. You can follow on the conversation and the curling action on all the social medias, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Just search at Shaw TV, Winnipeg, hashtag curling on Shaw. Lots more action coming your way. Before that, let's set up to booth with Resby Coots and Maureen Bonner.
Thanks, Blair. Our final game, Anna Hasselborg of Sweden, Nina Roth of the United States. Let's recap the semifinals. Maureen, Roth, a big comeback, down 3 coming home.
Oh, for sure. A big comeback on her team's part, getting 3 in the last end and taking it to the extra end and then stealing for the win against Kelsey Rock. Great game on the Roth by the Roth team.
Hasselborg, a little easier win over Carrie Anderson.
Yes, you know, it was a battle. Carrie, her team played well, but Hasselborg just came to the mark every time and sailed to the win.
The day started with 8 teams, all of whom still had an opportunity to go to the Olympics. Our final game tonight, Hasselborg of Sweden is the Olympic representative for Sweden. Roth, an odds-on favorite to be the United States team. We'll be back with that game in just a moment. Well, we're back at the Portage Curling Club, sheet number 5 for the final game of the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic, a game between a pair of teams with Olympic aspirations. The Swedish team, skipped by Anna Hasselborg, is the Swedish Olympic representative, already confirmed. Nina Roth, the American team in our game here, is one of 3 teams who will play a triple round robin in the U.S. trials upcoming next month. Both teams hoping to be playing each other. Hasselborg there, Roth hoping to play Hasselborg again in February in Korea. This is going to be a great game.
For sure. This is a great matchup for the Roth team as well, to get themselves in that mindset of competing at this level, and great opportunity for them to sharpen their skills before going into that trial in November.
The Roth team threw the opening rock. There was no draw for the last rock in this final game due to the fact that the Hasselborg team has come through undefeated. They've won 6 in a row to get to this final game. They came through the A side of the competition. Roth lost a game in the A, dropped into the B and qualified through the B, but because of the undefeated status and the A qualifying status, Hasselborg has last rock. That first rock went in the center of the rings, right in the forefoot, and Hasselborg removed it. Likely a pretty routine kind of first end.
I think so. Just going to, get their legs under them again. They've played a lot of games up until here, so just getting used to the ice and that comfortable feeling. First end jitters out.
And as we watch some routine opening shots, maybe an opportunity to introduce the teams. Why don't we start with the team from the United States?
All right, we have the Roth team. Nina Roth is a skip. Third is Tabitha Peterson. Second is Eileen Deving. Lead is Rebecca Hamilton, and they're from the Four Seasons Curling Club in Blaine, Minnesota.
We're going to have some challenges with names on the Swedish team. I've sat closely with the coach of the Swedish team, and she's given me pronunciation instructions. And frankly, folks, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to use my own pronunciations and not the ones that she gave me, because the ones she gave me are not going to work all that well for the way my mouth works. But the Swedish team is skipped by Anna Hasselborg with Sarah McManus at third. Now I'm going to have no problem saying Sarah McManus's name all through this game. At second is Agnes Knockenhauer, and that's pretty close to the way I'm going to say it, but that's certainly not the way the Swedish coach suggested it could be pronounced. And then the lead on that Swedish team is Sofia Mabergs, and they curl out of the Sundbybergs Curling Club in Sundbyberg, Sweden.
real interesting matchup too. If you talk about it, you know, the previous games that both of these teams played, Resby, Hasselborg playing Anderson, basically was in control all that game, and the Roth team playing Kelsey Rock were, you know, running from behind the whole game, and ended up winning that game in the extra end. So a little different ways to get to the final here for both of these teams.
From your past experience, Maureen, what does those two kinds of finishes in semifinal games do for the way as you go into that next game?
Well, for sure, coming from behind and taking a steal in an extra end is absolutely, you know, I guess generates some excitement and gets you pumped, and you feel almost like you're a little bit on cloud nine, you know, fortunate to be able to do that. So it really brings a positive refresh button to your whole game when you come out the next game. Hasselborg, I think they're pretty consistent in coming off of that game from, you know, what we saw of that game with Anderson. They were just on mark every cue. We saw an incredible shot by Carrie Anderson, drew to freeze on top of one of Hasselborg's at the back of the button, made a complete, like, solid freeze shot, and Hasselborg came down and threw a very firm rock and got it to move off of there and scored her one on that end. And everybody was just shaking their head that they didn't think it was possible, and she made it happen.
So we're into third stones. The first stone by U.S. third Tabitha Peterson, the draw to the edge of the button, and it'll be followed by an in-turn hit by Swedish third Sarah McManus. Roll over to the side. Tabitha Peterson now an out-turn hit. A completely different first end, Maureen, than we've seen in any of the previous 5 games we've done here in the Canadians men's and women's classic Bonspiels.
For sure, and you know, sometimes you go into that final game, you're really excited to be in the final, and you want to just play maybe a little bit more cautious and keep it very simple for the first little while, and until you can really feel like you're comfortable with everything.
An out-turn hit by McManus following the out-turn by Peterson. And followed now by an out-turn hit by Nina Roth, her first shot of this game. We started the day with 8 teams in this playoff round. All of them still had a chance to represent their countries in the Olympics. As we've mentioned, of course, Hasselborg is the Swedish representative, but Roth and Corey Christensen are both into the U.S. Olympic trials, so they both had a chance. We had Sherry Madaw, we had Carrie Anderson, we had Kelsey Rock, all of whom are in the Canadian pre-trials. And of course, we had Jennifer Jones and Chelsea Carey, who are in the trials. So the cream rose to the top through the week, Maureen.
It sure did. No doubt about it. And there was some really incredible curling going on. And if that's any indication of what we're in for the road to the rings and the roar of the rings, boy, hang on to your hats, people. It's going to be an incredible show.
Out-turn hit by Hasselborg, rolls to the outside. Final stone of the end for Nina Roth.
Nina's a registered nurse. She's 29 years of age. She's been curling for a number of years, has lots of international and national experience behind her.
Final shot of the end for Nina Roth. Another in a series of out-turn hits. She will hit, roll to the inside, right across the rings. But not out, changing the shot completely for Hasselborg's final stone.
Nina throwing the out turn straight down here, getting a little bit of an inside roll, rolling to the back of the 8-foot, changing the shot up here, as Resby said, and changing the turn as well. Hasselborg will try and hit this and roll away to blank the end.
A very athletic team, Maureen, this Swedish team. I've mentioned during practices, I thought, my goodness, they're throwing tuck deliveries, but in fact they're throwing flat foot deliveries in a very low profile.
Sweden is always fit, and I'm surprised. I have a hard time remembering their Sweden, because usually there's yellow on their uniforms.
So they do hit and roll out the blanked end. Hasselborg of Sweden, Roth of the USA. No score after the first end of the final game of the Canadians 2017 Women's Classic. We'll be right back after this break, and at that time, Blair Malstravich will chat with, have an earlier conversation with Anna Hasselborg.
All right, I'm joined now by Anna Hasselborg. Anna, how did your team feel heading into this final?
We feel great. We love the ice. We love the facility here. Yeah, we had a good weekend so far, so looking to improve that.
Yeah, your performance here has been quite exceptional. Did you know that was going to happen coming in, or you were just being optimistic?
We do love the ice, as I said, so it fits the game we want to play. So, yeah, it's pretty much up to plan.
Nice. And how's your team's communication going?
Great. We really work on our communication, so, and I think it's working really well here.
Great. Thank you so much, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Still more to come on the 2017 Canad Women's Classic.
We're back into the second end of the final game of the Canadians Women's Classic, and a look at the way these teams reached this final game. As we mentioned, Anna Hasselborg, the Swedish team, reached the final, or reached the playoff round from the A event, defeated Chelsea Carey, a Canadian trials team, and then defeated Carrie Anderson, a Canadian pre-trials team, to reach the final. Anderson had beaten another pre-trials team in Sherry Madaw in the first round. Nina Roth reached the final game by defeating first a Canadian trials team, Jennifer Jones, the reigning gold medalist, and then Chelsea Rock, a Canadian pre-trials team. Rock had earlier beaten Christensen, an American team who is in the United States Olympic curling trials next month. So that's the way they reached this spot. Hasselborg of Sweden already, as we've said, going to the Olympics. Nina Roth hopeful of being the Olympic representatives from the United States. The end a little different this end, Maureen. Roth goes to the 4-foot circle with her opening stone, and Hasselborg puts up the corner guard. Roth now with her lead, Rebecca Hamilton playing at center guard.
Yeah, we've got a bit of an end building now. They feel comfortable.
Well, you did hear a very good interview with Blair Malistravich in the English language. All of the team communication will, of course, be in Swedish. So I will be relying on you, Maureen Bonner, to interpret you having a much closer understanding of the logic of the elite curler than I do.
Well, my Swedish language isn't so good right now, but I'm anticipating she's trying to come around and tap. And the discussion was if you end up nicking the front guard as you do this, fine, but we'll try and go around and tap it back.
And does exactly that with the outturn tap, pushes the yellow rock back into the, just biting into the 12-foot circle with the Swedish stone sitting full 4-foot.
So just easy weight here coming around the high center guard. Just taps half of the yellow stone back into the back 8-foot and rolls away, giving opportunity for Nina to hit and roll behind the corner guard or the high guard.
Outturn hit by second Eileen Giving. Pretty much nose hit.
I got a 9-1.
Playing this angle run back in that high guard.
Agnes Knockenhauer. In turn hit. Remove the high guard. Hopefully remove the rock from the 4-foot as well. Bang and bang.
Oh, great shot. She touched every rock in the house. Removed one stone. She threw firm weight at this. She hits 3/4 of the rock and angles it right into the 4-foot stone, removing it just to the left, and it just jams on the back 12-foot rock.
Just needed to come up just a fraction more. Roth now moves to remove the corner guard. Rolls away.
Well, Nina thinking that's maybe a bit of a risky having those two catchers back there in the corner guard, so she decided to remove the corner guard.
Ja, ska du sätta den perfekt också, exakt chapp.
Okej, ja. Men lägger den så den bajtar precis.
Ja.
Det gillar jag.
First stone of the end for Swedish third, Sarah McManus.
Ja, 4 sekunder kvar, men jag kan ta sådär.
With a pair of U.S. stones in the back, in the 12-foot circle. She'll play to the tee line in front of those two rocks. 8-foot, 12-foot area.
Bra linje, yes,
Well, and Nina could have left that corner guard up there and gone around it. Sometimes people do, but it's how you feel as a skip and what you're feeling, you know, what you're confident in and how you feel the game will progress from there. And she chose to rip off that corner guard and keep the game back in the house. Very nice shot by Hasselborg here, drawing down to that back 12-foot stone on the far right, creasing to the top of it.
That was, in fact, the second shot of the end for second Agnes Knockenhauer. Now third Tabitha Peterson for the United States, playing the outturn outside hit.
It's not all bad losing that other stone back there in the 12-foot. She hits this just on the high side, angles it back to the 12-foot stone, belongs to Hasselborg, and takes it out.
Out turn, outside hit. Looks like we'll play for another blanked in, Maureen.
For sure.
U.S. third, Tabitha Peterson.
Good throw, Tab. How'd it go?
So the Roth team will be playing for their Olympic trial spot in November, and there's 2 other teams. You had mentioned the Christensen team, and there's also the Jamie Sinclair team that they'll be coming up against.
Coach Al Hackner was telling us earlier that the format is a dandy. 3 teams are playing a triple round robin, meaning they play 6 games. Then the top 2 teams will play a best of 3 series, and as he said, setting up the potential that 2 teams could play each other 6 times.
So here's Hasselborg Stone just hitting and rolling a little bit too far inside and rolling out, leaving a open draw for Nina Roth.
She'll test that big swing in turn that we watched all day yesterday, cause a few challenges for that for the teams, and an early opportunity, Maureen, to get a feel for whether that run is the same as it was yesterday.
For sure. It's always a nice feeling to be able to have a free draw to the forefoot.
We mentioned earlier there was no draw to the button for Hammer in this game because Hasselborg, undefeated, had the hammer, but in fact she threw her last draw as if it were a draw to the button, played about this ice and drew the to bite the button with her last, it was Hasselborg I'm talking about. Roth now throwing that in-turn draw.
Well, it's a nice break for them to not have to draw to the button. They can use and warm up all sides of the ice instead of just, you know, basically breaking down one side, getting it prepared for their draw. So it's nice to see some shots inside out and outside in and hits and everything in their warm-up. Get a good read on the ice.
We did see particularly the Swedish team playing the center line to the wings draws to test what it would do, and not something you see very often in these pre-game practices because they focus so much on honing that draw to the button and last rock being so vital.
Yeah, and just trying to break down that path for their skipper or whoever is designated to throw that draw to the button.
Hasselborg first rock of second end, an in-turn hit. And Roth follows as well with the in-turn hit.
Vi kommer inte kunna fixa biten eller så här.
Nej. Alltså det blir dumt när centern täckte ju också dragningen.
Ja, men jag menar.
Hade vi lagt andra handen så hade det varit bättre kanske.
Exakt. Exakt.
Vi kanske skulle dragit andra handen. För deras slog ju senet i hållet. Hade det varit på vecka? Vecka nöjda.
Nina Roth, final shot of the second hand. Little hit, roll to center, not quite. And Hasselborg will play again for a blanked end.
You can see Hasselborg tightens up her ice here. She's going to have her weight and just try and hit and split it off the house and roll away, blank the end.
go short. I didn't know play in.
Igen. Yes! Yes!
Final shot of the second end.
Forward! Ligger bra.
Hit, roll, blank.
Härligt, Anna.
After 2 complete ends, Hasselborg of Sweden, Roth of the United States, no score. Earlier, Blair Malistravich had an opportunity to talk with Nina Roth. We'll be back with the third end.
All right, I'm joined now by Nina Roth. Let's talk about how you're feeling heading into this final.
Our team's really excited. You know, we just had a couple great games this morning. We've been playing well all weekend, so we're just ready to keep rolling.
Now, how is it, there's obviously a bit of travel time to come to events like this. How do you deal with that?
We're really used to being on the road. The last 3 years, we've been traveling almost every weekend during the curling season, so we're pretty used to it.
Now, what are some of the things you're trying to keep in mind?
Just kind of keep playing the same game that we've been playing. We've been doing really well and making good shots and just hanging in there.
Great. Thank you so much for this and best of luck.
Thanks.
Still want to come with the 2017 Canad Women's Classic Final.
Well, we're back for the third end of the final game of the Canadians 2017 Women's Classic. A completely different game from any of the previous 5 we've broadcast. 2 blanked ends, and I would suggest, Maureen, it's likely to continue this way until we maybe get a miss or a break of some kind.
I think so. I think they're just waiting on each other to kind of take charge or make a move, and nobody's really at this point willing to take that step. They are just more comfortable playing it very cautious and very safe and keeping it very simple.
So Nina Roth has her lead Rebecca Hamilton throw rock into the top of the 8-foot circle, and Hasselborg now communicating with her team and talking about, do we play a corner guard, do we play a hit and roll to the side? Elected to play that out turn hit.
Well, while they're playing this takeout game, let's talk about the ice conditions here. They've been fantastic. All the curlers that I've talked to throughout the weekend have just said the ice has been so perfect and so great. It's nice to come and play on ice that moves. The ice conditions are hog to hog, running 14 in this game, and hog to stop 24 seconds. Again, the sliding surface is wonderful, and there's no complaints about the ice conditions from any of the players. They are just very, very thankful to the ice makers this week.
It's a credit to ice maker Farrell Asham, who's become one of the very good club ice makers in the province. We have some traveling ice makers, the likes of Hans Withrick and Greg Owasco and so on, who aren't club associated specifically and who travel a lot to work Manitoba, Canadian, and world events, and it's a different job for a guy like Farrell who day after day, week after week, keeps the ice in this kind of condition in the Portage Curling Club.
Oh, and hats off to Farrell too. I think he was still juggling golf course maintenance and shutdown in amongst ice and making ice here. So really great job.
One of those guys who's been able to build a real good career joining the responsibilities of golf course and curling club. It's his second Eileen Gebbing, an out turn hit. Maureen, I started describing that format of the U.S. trials with only 3 teams. An interesting challenge going into that, knowing they're going to play the other 2 teams a total of 3 times each. What are you thinking going into a playoff round like that? How many games are you feeling like you have to win to be sure you're one of the top 2?
Well, you know, I think you have to get your mindset around playing the same team, but actually going into each game knowing who you're playing, but basically putting bags over their heads and just knowing that you're playing another team. And don't focus on so much of we played them this time, this is what happened, and oh, we have these negative feelings coming through if, you know, if it ends up not being a positive experience. Just going out and playing your opposition and focus on that and focus on what you can do internally as a player and one-on-one with that person you're competing against. It's going to be a long haul for them, so they're really going to have to use their mental preparation to the max, playing the same teams. And I don't know how long they have for that competition. I don't think Al Hackner mentioned how long it is over, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a battle for them playing just the three teams in their competition.
It's one of those occasions when that really hackneyed sports expression, play one game at a time, really does apply the way you were describing.
For sure. You have the tendency kind of to play the same teams over and over again, to maybe take them for granted. And you can't do that, right? There's too much on the line. So you really have to find another opportunity, another way to really get your focus on going out there to play the next game.
This in-turn draw, the final second stone of the end, Agnes Knockenhauer, and draws to the outside edge of the 12-foot circle, allowing Nina Roth to ask Tabitha Peterson to play that same out-turn hit that they played numerous times last day.
Nine. Whoa. Running a bit. Yep. Close. Whoa. 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 Yep. Whoa. 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 No, no. Nice way, Tab.
You know, Anna Hasselborg's got last rock, so she's happy just to keep that last rock advantage. And so far, she's just happy to keep playing them up and down.
Third, Sarah McManus. Out-turn hit.
Same 9.
To change it up a little bit, Roth asked her third, Tabitha Peterson, to hit and roll across center.
9. Whoa. Whoa.
To do that, she's going to have to come up. She's going to hit it on the nose. It's just a tiny little bite.
Okay. Du wait.
Samma fart.
Ja. 10-9.
En liten försiktig i början då.
Second shot of the end for Swedish third, Sarah McManus.
Försiktigt.
10-7.
She'll also try to hit and roll in towards the center line.
Ja. Ja. Whoa. Ren.
Well, Anna Hasselborg, in her road to qualifying through the A side, ended up beating Rachel Burtnick her first game, and then Shannon Burchard and Sherry Madaw, and then the final of the A qualifier was a win over Michelle Ingelot.
Fifth consecutive out-turn hit from this end.
Nu känns det som att det där planade ut liksom.
Roth will come to that rock.
10,
Nose hit.
10-6 tror jag.
Alltså 10.
10,5 och sådär. Vika ut.
Nina Roth's path to qualifying through B, she ended up coming up against Ogasawa. I can never say that name.
Gazoa.
There you go. Terrazzoni, and then lost to Anderson, which put her down into the B side. And then she went on a winning spree, beating Everly, Scotland, and Anderson again to qualify out of B. So she's had 2 more games than Anna Hasselborg.
Whose first rock of the end is underway. Another out turn hit, another out turn nose.
Have a little less.
Put it through that 10 really good, so yeah. And then 5 should go the same. Okay.
Seventh consecutive out turn hit of this end.
There it goes. I'm 7.
Almost nose, a little outside roll. And again, Hasselborg will play an out turn hit to blank.
Well, if they were on time clocks, it would be really, really good on their time.
There would be a lot of bank time at this stage, you're right.
Again, we don't have time clocks here throughout the competition, so it's given an opportunity for teams to work on communication, work on some of their details that they need to hone up for the upcoming competitions. So it's a nice break for them to not have to worry about time clocks.
Final shot of the third end. Sweden's Hasselborg, an attempt to blank. Successfully. And after 3 ends, Hasselborg of Sweden, Roth of the United States, no score. You're watching the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic from Portage La Prairie. We'll be right back with the 4th end.
Tavern United, a new world sports pub with a wide selection of sporting events televised at our 8 locations in Manitoba. Tavern United, your destination for great sports all the time.
Tune into Shaw TV's Winnipeg Art to discover local artists in all their mediums, from acrylic, watercolor, oil paints, and sculpture. For a chance to have your art air on Winnipeg Art, contact Shaw TV.
Welcome back to the Portage Curling Club. You're watching the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic Final. Follow the conversation on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Shaw TV Winnipeg, hashtag curling on Shaw. Now back up to Resby and Maureen.
Above sheet 5 in the Portage Curling Club, and you might think it was a game from another era, Maureen. 3 ends played, 3 ends blanked. What's your guess? At what point does the game style change?
Well, I guess it's really up to Anna Hasselborg to make the move if she wants to set up for her deuce. And, you know, Nina Roth will just continue to put them in the house and you know, set her stones up, and she's happy just to continue to do that. At some point, Hasselborg's going to have to make a move to get her deuce, but you know what? If she can continue to blank every end until the 8th end, like Jennifer Jones said yesterday, give me the hammer. I want the hammer in the last end, and if that happens, I'm in good shape.
Don't need a deuce if it's 0-0 coming home is the logic. So that first rock goes in the 8-foot circle, followed by a corner guard by Hasselborg, followed now again by Roth lead Rebecca Hamilton throwing the center guard. Puts that guard on the Canadiens logo, as we talked about. Pretty near anywhere on that Canadiens logo throughout our games has been a pretty good location, Maureen.
For sure. Well, Anna Hasselborg's asked for her teammate to come down and just tap the yellow stone that sits in the 8-foot.
This is Sophia Mauberg's second shot of the end.
Very nice shot from Sophia. Just asked her to throw some easy weight on this to get by the front guard and tap the Nina Roth stone back through the house. Rolls away.
And she So the good hit and roll behind the guard. Now, I just knocked it out with her first shot of the end. An out-turn hit past the center guard. Passes the guard, makes that tap, rolls out to the corner. Wide open, but in the 12-foot circle.
Oh, it's a lovely shot. Throws the out turn here and throws nice, crisp takeout weight. Moves across towards center line and just picks out that yellow Roth stone, rolling a little bit too far behind the corner guard, but it was a good shot.
Eileen Givings, an out-turn hit on that open stone. Throws up to it for a nose hit. And now the attempt to hit and roll in behind the guard.
And just indicating that she's got a couple of guards to roll to, so if she gets the inside roll off of Nina Roth stone in the 12-foot, she can roll behind into the 8-foot or right across to behind the center guard.
Again, Agnes Nakamura, out-turn hit. And another nose.
She didn't have much weight on that either, and it just stayed right there. This comes down and just comes right to nose. No roll there.
Again, second, Givings. Turn hit, rolls away.
Well, this will give Hasselborg an opportunity to draw around.
Perhaps this now is that miss that we talked about. When the miss comes, you've got to take advantage of it.
For sure.
Kan jag få lite mer? Ja.
15. Yes.
Third, Sarah McManus.
Mycket just nu.
Nej, eka ingen fara för linjer.
Ha lite koll. Den är bak 4. Okej. Lite bromsning ser jag. Linjen är lugn.
Eka den.
Linjen är lugn för ligger bak 10. 13, 4, 13, 6. Ha lite broms. Ska jag gå lite eller?
Turn draw, lots of room past the guard, but a little bit deep in the rings.
Bra. 13.
It comes right out the other side. You can see it on almost full rock on the out turn side. They don't touch it all the way down. It's just waiting for it to bend and kind of slow down into the slide path, but it just keeps sliding through the house. They try and sweep it back to take it way back, and it just stops in the back 8, fully open.
Tabitha Peterson now, they hit and roll, attempting to roll behind the corner guard. She will be half open.
Well, great attempt by Nina Roth's team to hit and roll behind that corner. Anna Hasselborg will ignore it at this point and try and put that guard or put that draw right into the top 8 foot behind the center guard.
Properly placed, Maureen, this McManus stone in the top 8 foot, even biting the 4 foot, uses the yellow rock in the back 8 foot as a catcher if the other team attempts to play the tap on it.
For sure, so she can afford to be on the outside of the guard rather than try and come in too tight and over curl. Don't want to peek out that other side.
Almost perfectly buried, but she does peek out just that little bit on that other side, leaving the out-turn opportunity to come past the center guard, tap it back.
Well, and that's the same spot that Hasselborg had her player come down in the earlier part of the sand and tap a stone out and roll to the side.
Freeze tappy, a little tap. I said I don't mind it. I threw it.
Yeah, we
The
know.
line's really good. That's where Rebecca was.
Okay. Sync with
less.
the right weight. That should be good, yeah.
What did you get on mine?
97.
Roth will throw that out-turn draw. Big swing in the ice to the face of the rock, perhaps tap it back just a little bit.
Well, Nina must be thinking that this is her opportunity possibly to put some pressure on Anna Hasselborg.
Yeah, same even thrown.
Maybe a force here. Or a steal.
We freeze to it or we shot? No. Okay.
It's an either or, isn't it, Maureen? If she gets right to the face of the Swedish stone, then the force is there, but she's also set herself up for her next shot and the possibilities to make something happen in terms of a steal.
Well, for sure.
No
And
turn
then
draw.
Nina having the, Nina having the shot, another second stone in the house there in the back 8 foot is a good indication as well that she's looking to try and force.
It's up. Back up.
Yep, go a little bit. Yep, go ahead.
Whoa.
You got a piece.
Yep.
Yep. Nice shot, Neen. Good.
Good work, back.
It just comes hanging for a little while here, and it's a little bit heavy, so they're just waiting on it and trying to make it curl a little bit here up to that nose of the blue stone. Just taps it back to full 4 foot.
So Anna Hasselborg will be looking at, in turn, trying to get to the face, perhaps across the face of the just thrown Nina Roth stone, attempt to push it back out through and roll behind the guard to lie a pair.
Well, she's reduced her ice considerably from what Nina just threw, so it'll all be weight sensitive here, and I think it's there, Resby. I think she can get to the face of that and get a little flip behind the guard.
Tycker man har hållit den rätt bra på sopen.
Släpper försiktigt.
Ja.
Och den låg...
Jag gillar den här isen, Anna.
Jag tror det också det där.
Trycka bakåt då.
Just confirming what weight she's going to throw here, I think.
First stone of the fourth end for Anna Hasselborg.
Whoa! Yeah!
No score in the game between Hasselborg and Roth.
Whoa! Yeah!
Right turn has got to come past the guard and then get right up to the center line.
Nej! Ta lugnt tjej. De här den. Nej. Gå på deras.
Exceptional
What a
shot.
lovely shot. Anna Hasselborg, beautiful weight on that. And she just wanted to tap that stone back that belongs to Roth and come around the guard and just maybe get a little bit of a flop inside. And she does just that. Doesn't touch her blue one on the way back and pushes it to the back A-foot to lie 2.
This way?
Yeah.
And you'll roll.
Yep.
Is it there this way at all?
No.
Roth looking at the angles now to try to figure out how she has to contact that top rock to make the double kill.
It's going over the top. Half a rock.
Got to drive it across the face of the rock in the back of the foot.
Should run.
Yeah, so she wants to just hit about a third of the stone. Around 11 o'clock.
Double.
If she makes the double, she will roll away. But those 2 yellows in the back of the rings would force Hasselborg to take a single point. Nina Roth, an out-turn hit. Double kill attempt. Final U.S. stone of this fourth end.
No. Back up. A little bit.
Nice training.
Doesn't come up quite enough, Maureen.
Just a little thin, too thin. She threw it really well. Throws this out turn fairly firm weight and for the double and just gets it a little bit thin. Just nicks the back Hasselborg stone, leaves it there. So now Hasselborg has a chance to draw for 2.
To draw for 2, the break in the game that we talked about at the start of this fourth end.
Skulle säga att känslan är att det känns lättare i det spåret än du här. Ja, skulle jag säga.
15 typ.
15-20. Ja. Får vi småsopa.
Det är samma i som Sara, gick från garden.
Ja.
Tror inte att det vore något problem även om den hade varit liksom lite lösare.
Nej, jag tror inte heller. Lägger du en T-line då?
Ja.
Final shot of the fourth end. First points of this final game of the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic. An in-turn draw. Sweden has scored a single point. Going for a second.
Kommer in lite mer. Bra linje, stilla sig där. Gör det!
We're going to have to give it the full sweep.
Yeah, they're going to have to carry this one as far as they can. They need a bite of the forefoot. Just
they get it.
enough.
A pair.
Great sweeping.
Hasselborg's sweepers save the day. They bring that rock to the edge of the forefoot circle for a deuce. Hasselborg of Sweden 2, Roth of the USA no score after 4 completed ends. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with the 5th end, but before that, Blair Malistravich will talk with our 2 skips.
Tune into Hot Wheels with a Z and go car racing.
This is my 57 GMC Carpenter school bus.
Learning everything about cars and car culture in Manitoba. Get those RPMs up, take the roof down. Check out all the classic vehicles, learning everything about cars and car culture in Manitoba.
Canad's Destination Centers, proud to support our community with 10 destination centers in Manitoba.
Welcome back. I'm Blair Miles Travis, joined by both skips. Right now I'm going to go to Anna. Anna, let's talk about that last rock there.
Yeah, the girls swept good, so.
Nice. You know, I love you. For such you're small, but you have a really powerful voice, and that's really important because that's really strong to your communication. What difference is having no shot clock?
Sorry,
like
what?
Time clock?
Oh yeah, we use Rock Watcher and we love that, and it's important to use it in our communication. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Now, let's talk about that first half for you.
It was pretty clean the first few ends, and we finally got something going. I'm glad they scored a couple points because now I get hammer.
Nice. Best of luck to you as well. Still more to come in the 2017 Canad Women's Classic Final.
Tavern United, a new world sports pub. With a wide selection of sporting events televised at our 8 locations in Manitoba. Tavern United, your destination for great sports all the time.
We're back for the 5th end of the final game of the Canadians Women's Classic for 2017. Anna Hasselborg of Sweden, after 3 blanked ends, finally gets the break she needs and scores a pair. Hasselborg of Sweden leads Roth of the USA 2-0 as the 5th end begins. How does the game change now, Maureen?
Well, like you heard in the interview, Nina Roth is quite happy that they finally got some points on the board and she can have the hammer and see what she can do with it. It's been a long haul waiting for her to get the hammer, and so I think she's quite thrilled to be able to be in control maybe in this end and play the game she wants to with the hammer. But I wasn't, you know, I have to say I wasn't entirely disappointed in the way Nina called that last end. She wanted to try and force, and you know, had she got the double, she would have been forcing that 1 point. So, you know, good attempt on her to try and get something going.
She was probably only a quarter of an inch from getting the double. She got the angle she needed. She got the contact on that back rock, just not quite enough contact.
Yeah.
Opening rock of the 5th now, Sofia Mobergs. And now it's Sweden's turn to go into the rings. And Roth's turn to throw the corner guard.
Line's good. 2. Let it work a little. Run it. Nope. Starting to go
Rebecca
now.
Hamilton will put up a corner guard here.
Eileen.
Number is 953.
Whoa. Yep.
61.
Yep.
89.
Right here.
Again,
Yep.
it's 953 6189.
So with the corner guard now, Mobergs is asked to play a center guard.
Lite mer plats. Ja, lite kort om hake. Okej, gå då. Plats. Mellan hake. Plats. Byt. Hake. Gå, Sara.
Well, they want this guard tight. That stone they're covering is only in the 8 foot.
Gå, gå, gå! Janet, Sara! Hård! Janet! Janet, Sara! Hård!
Doesn't quite get the curl up to the center line that she wanted, and leaves Roth the opportunity now to play past the guard, play a tap back, and perhaps get a roll behind the guard just thrown by the Swedish team.
Jag tror den då haken liksom. Det är bra. Hack! Whoa! Yeah, line's good. No. Whoa! No. Here it goes. No. Eileen. Hard on the ballooning.
A little wide as she passes the guard. She won't get the roll behind. She rolls a little bit opener. Pushes that stone back, leaves it biting back 12 foot. An opportunity for Agnes Nockenhauer to now play the tap and roll, a much easier shot now because the rock she's throwing at is not at all buried.
Oh, if she does roll, she'll only be in the 12 foot, possibly just biting the 8 foot, which might give it an opportunity for Nina Roth to draw around.
Rock's going to over curl, rack on the guard. Gets a real break with it. She pushes it through to contact the yellow stone, roll over behind the corner guards.
I'm not sure what happened to that stone. It just kind of went sideways.
Sweden lies shot rock buried in the edge of the 8 foot circle behind the corners, and Roth will play a draw, in-turn draw. Eileen Gevings.
Line's good. Got ranks. 5's good. 6. Line's moving.
6, 7.
Whoa. Full 8 foot. It's coming down now.
7.
Whoa. Whoa. 14-1. 6.
She can see this intern really walks across. Buries in there very nicely.
A little deeper than she would like it to be as it slides across the tee line, but it is shot stone.
Nockenhauer will try and repeat, draw in there.
Känns igenom. Känns precis igenom.
Oh, this one looks a little heavy, Rasby.
Just a little bit heavy, slides back into the 12 foot.
Go around again.
An opportunity now for Roth to try to improve upon the earlier draw.
Makes a huge difference. How much weight you took.
Yeah. Is that more, Berm?
No, this is the same.
Okay.
You want more?
No. Let's get it.
Whoa, whoa, let it work. Line's good.
All the way, girls.
Line's good.
Full 8
foot. Full 8 foot. Come on, Becca.
Hard.
Oh, they're going to have to work on this one. Get it there for second shot.
Gotta be here. Gotta be here. Go.
Every pin.
Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. Okay. That's not a bad spot.
Second draw by second Eileen Gevings. It's not a bad result, Maureen, in that it's come to rest making it more difficult to draw to the face of the earlier draw that's in the back 8 foot.
It does protect that shot rock.
Take that one.
Swedish third, Sarah McManus. Finally an interesting, entertaining end to Marine, and we see that draw. It will draw past the rock in the top 12 foot. Again, a question of weight. And again, just a little bit deep.
Yeah, it just keeps sliding down in that center area.
We are one.
This is an opportunity now for Nina to come in there and hit second shot.
We are? We are one.
If we do that, they're going to come under.
This one.
Right?
So it's behind T.
Cover where we go under. I think we go under.
Which isn't the greatest.
I
Yeah.
think
feel
you
like
really
if we
have
go
to
here,
protect that area,
at least
don't
we've got
you,
this as a
Resby?
catcher.
Well, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think that they've committed
Also,
themselves
I don't mind
early
securing
to trying to get the shot stone in behind this side of the rings, and they have the opportunity now to throw draw into the full 8 foot, biting the 4 foot. The way it's swinging, it should fully bury. The risk, of course, being that if they leave it hanging out a little bit, chance to maybe double them out. Tabitha Peterson is the third for the United States team. They play out of the Four Seasons Club in Blaine, Minnesota.
Got room.
Well, you don't want to be heavy here.
Line's good. Coming down. Room. Still room. Me. 6. Eileen. 6. Eileen. 14-3.
Starts to cut the center.
Whoa. Sit. Whoa. Sit.
But it is just that little bit heavy behind the tee line, creating an opportunity now for Sweden to draw to it.
So she's trying to just tuck around that high 12-foot stone, and it's just a little bit heavy, and it starts to slow down just in the center and doesn't bend anywhere, and ends up coming even with her yellow stone in the 12-foot or 8-foot. So giving another opportunity for Hasselborg to come into the area and take the end away.
Final third stone of the end, Sarah McManus of Sweden. Final third stone for Sweden. McManus, the intern draw. Wider, but perhaps a little lighter, giving it the full sweep.
Yeah, this is sweeping weight. That's how it's going to bend in there.
They rub that guard in the top of the 8-foot circle, or top of the 12-foot circle.
Oh, I think her weight was perfect
The weight
for
was
there.
ideal.
It starts to bend earlier than they anticipated, and they start to try and hold it as long as they can to get it by that top 12-foot Roth stone, and it just rubs, rolling into the 12-foot center line.
Nose. Well, you got to hit it a little bit on that side in order to get it by this one.
But that'll run into the blue, won't it?
Or it might go over.
Check catchers.
I just don't think we can leave it there, and I feel like if we guard, they're gonna draw around again, right?
Yeah.
Just play soft weight.
Like a 10 or like board?
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 Really?
Yeah.
I don't want to jam it into those.
How's that look?
This looks good.
A nose hit here, and even if you just clip that yellow one in the back over a bit, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But keeping your shot stone, kind of guarding that 4-foot, and controlling that 4-foot area is what you want to do.
Tabitha Peterson, her stone begins to move across, and she is going to rub on her own stone, move the McManus stone up just a little bit and creating a real opportunity for the Hasselborg team.
So they're working it really hard to try and keep it straight, and it's just curling all the way and just over curls, rubs on that top 12-foot yellow stone that's been there for a while and ends up rolling away and leaving the Hasselborg stone in front of their shot stone in the back of the 4-foot.
USA still lies 2, Roth of the States. But the opportunity now for a bit of a bump in that blue stone that you see in the top of the 8-foot circle right into the pair of yellows, and Sweden would be line 4.
Well, the way it moves in there, they could actually play a hit on this Rösby right into those yellow stones.
Jag menar, säg att man skulle spela en 9.
Sätter man den så här?
Ja, eller om du skulle ha marginal och bara sätta, alltså så här.
Så även fast vi sätter den så ger vi den en skip-dus liksom.
Vad sa du?
Även fast vi sätter den så kommer vi ge en dragning och skip-dus.
Alltså vi kan ju sätta en dubbel.
Jag får sätta dubbeln där då. Ja.
Vad menar du
att de måste frysa på?
Att de fryser på.
Men den här kommer inte rulla så himla långt.
Nej,
vi tänkte 9 typ.
The good thing from the Roth perspective is that with the hit on that angle, the throwing rock is going to roll across the center line and leave the opportunity to draw to the 4-foot again and maybe salvage the situation. So my speculation is the conversation is a little bit about, do we actually just play a tap on this blue stone into the 4-foot and then see what we have with our last stone?
For sure.
Den är bara så fin liksom.
That was, you know, my Swedish heritage coming out.
Så även om jag skulle sätta den så här, förstår du vad jag menar? Eller gillar den?
The maternal great-grandfather's, in fact, name was Sandberg. And so I do have just that little bit of Swedish, so that's why I'm pretty confident in that one.
Well, my best friend was a Swede.
Oh, that's good enough too.
The Olsons.
So they continue to look at this, the risks and rewards of the hit. It's basically a very simple run blue into 2 yellows to probably lie 4. The throwing rock is going to roll over to the 8-foot circle, leaving the rock in the 4-foot open for a draw. We have 2 skip stones to come for both teams.
Well, she does have 2 options. She could play the bump, as you said, and bump it straight back on to sit on top of the Roth stones, or play the angle double and lie 4, but her shooter will open up the 4-foot. It's always about what you're leaving for your opposition after you throw. From the look of this ice, I think she's going to throw fairly firm weight. Rösby?
I would say we're playing in-turn hit. In fact, there's the potential for that yellow rock out in the corner of the 8-foot to be a catcher if the right set of motions happen. Here we go. Hasselborg, in-turn hit. Past the guard. A raised double. Doesn't come up enough. Removes one, rolls in front of the other.
Well, mission accomplished on that, I believe. She removed one of the yellow stones and sits shot rock. She threw firm weight at this down center line. She didn't want it to take off on her, and it just hits 3/4 of that blue stone onto the yellow and rolls off the face of it up to lie shot.
Just draw. We'll tap because they're shot right now.
Okay.
But freeze is good.
There.
So with Roth to throw her first rock of the end, Sweden lies shot rock. United States Roth team second shot, Sweden 3rd and 4th. Roth will throw a draw.
She just wants to draw on top of the face of that blue stone. Sit shot.
Inside corner of that.
Nina Roth, the first shot of this fifth end.
7-8. Well done. 7. 7.
7 indicates it's T-line Resby.
Yep. Really taking off.
And they're calling out the numbers.
Yep.
Comes to the hog line.
Yep. Line's great.
Curling nicely for
Line's
that
great right here.
stone in the back of
Line's
the 4-foot circle.
Line's good. Yep. Hold line. Yep.
No bump here.
Nice job, Nina.
Beautiful stone by Nina Roth.
Good job, you guys.
Kan vi gadda?
Ja, vi ligger andra.
Ja. Kan vi bara gadda?
Ja, men typ.
5 rör sig alla dagar i veckan på skjuten, va?
Ja, absolut.
Ja, gadda då.
Alla?
Eller?
Ja.
Again, the Hasselborg team looks at angles.
Gadda för att inte
Gadda för att de inte ska kunna trycka på den där, va?
Gadda draget, va?
Gadda draget.
Ja.
Och tappen såklart. Vi kan inte gadda. Vi kan inte gadda.
Vi kan
Vad har hon för tapp?
Alltså, draget
hon har ju
kan vi
samma
väl inte.
Hon har ju
drag.
köpt för det. Ja.
Ja, det är väl den vi måste
Exakt.
gadda.
Det är den vi gaddar.
Det är det vi
Draget
vet
kan
vad.
vi ju inte gadda.
Men
Så.
om vi lägger här så kan vi ju göra båda. Exakt, alltså längre ner bara.
Well, Yellowstone
här,
isn't
va?
going to go very
Där, ja.
far.
Här va?
Ja.
Bara inte lämna glugg.
Du kan vara lite mer där också, Anna. Mitt på linan kan det också vara. De kommer inte kunna curla en sten efter det där liksom.
Nej, men jag tänkte för att gadda draget också. Försöka göra det också.
Alltså, draget kommer
It
vi
looks
aldrig
like she's electing to draw down.
Gillar du den här isen?
Sit on top of the yellow corner freeze.
Playing for the force.
Upp på linan då.
Fakta du som inte har hålet. Ja, nej. Det är optimalt.
Anna Hasselborg leads Nina Roth 2-0, playing the fifth end. This is Hasselborg's final rock of this fifth end.
Lite platt när man flaggar kanske. Ja. Men den går lätt att ja.
Vi är inte rädda för att den kommer hänga kvar där ute, va?
Nej. 25. Ja.
Wasn't happy with something under her rock. Reset completely in her delivery.
Ja, plats just nu. Bra linje. Okej.
Well, she was, he drew with the last stone in the last end, so draw weight should be fairly simple.
Håll igång.
Although she did make her sweeper sweep the heck out of it to get it for shot.
Hela vägen. 4.
Hockenauer and Maubergs with the sweep. They're going to leave it as a guard. Now Nina Roth and Tabitha Peterson are the ones looking at the angles, trying to decide, is there anything we can do except draw around this outside guard, bite the button for 2? Is there any possibility of a 3?
Yeah.
I think they might risk moving their back Yellowstone
You can notice it.
farther than it needs to be for it to count, so might be just an easier draw for 2.
Whatever you guys want to do.
Unless they're looking at the angle off the yellow and on the high side there outside the rings.
I think what they're looking at is whether or not there's an in-turn port through to contact that Yellowstone, but it didn't take them long to decide that someday, somewhere, that port might exist, but not today. They'll go to the outside and in-turn draw. They simply have to draw to bite the edge of the button.
Break the teeth. Okay.
I say simply. I realize it's not that simple, Maureen. But
Well, she has to go out a little bit farther on this draw, farther than her first one. But her weight was very, very good on the last stone.
this is the final shot of the fifth end of the final game of the Canadians 2017 Women's Classic.
Line's great. Line's good. Right to T, girls.
Geving and Hamilton.
Line's good.
Sweep for the sweepers.
You got it. Line's good. Piece of the button, ladies. Piece of the button. Line's great. Go, go, go. Hard now. Go, go, Line's go. Great.
They yelled 5, so they're going to have to take this in.
Hard, go, go, go. Go, go, go. You got it. Go.
a piece of the button.
Rock to the forefoot, and they do get not just a piece of the button, a good piece of the button for a deuce. Nina Roth, Blaine, Minnesota, scores a pair on the 5th end to tie the game with Anna Hasselborg of Sweden. 2-all after 5. We'll be right back with coverage of the 6th end from Portage La Prairie in the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic on Shaw TV and Shaw Direct.
Hello, who's this? Oh, it's Chloe. Chloe has an idea she wants to share with the world. She picks up her camera, she shoots her video.
Hey, where do frogs keep their money? At the riverbank.
And finally she edits her masterpiece. Chloe then sends her video to Shaw TV where it can be aired on community producers. It's just that easy. If you want to be like Chloe, email us at createtv@shaw.ca. Community producers, every fortnight on Shaw TV.
Canad Inn's Destination Centers, proud to support our community with 10 destination centers in Manitoba.
We're back in the Portage Curling Club for the final game of the Canadians 2017 Women's Classic. After 3 blank ends to open the game, Anna Hasselborg scored 2 on the 4th end. Nina Roth from Blaine, Minnesota has scored a deuce on the 5th end with a nice draw to the button. And so we play the 6th now with the score tied 2-all, and Roth plays her opening rock into the top of the 8-foot circle, a shot by Rebecca Hamilton.
All 2 really nice shots by Nina Roth in that last end. Get their 2 points.
An in-turn draw by Sophia Maubergs from center line to the wings to set up a corner guard. Maureen, I think while we watch these opening rocks to this end, Rebecca Hamilton playing lead for the United States team reminds me that Rebecca and her brother who played with John Schuster a week ago, are also a high-level mixed doubles team. They played in the World Mixed Doubles in Lethbridge last spring, and I say that because I think it's incumbent upon us to remind folks that the Canadian Mixed Doubles Olympic Trials are going to be here in Portage La Prairie over at Stride Place in the first week in January. It's a first time, the first Olympic trials. The Canadian team is going to go to the Olympics along with 7 other teams, and great entertainment. It's a completely different approach to this sport of curling, but I had the opportunity to watch in Lethbridge last spring, and I was fascinated by both the strategy and the execution, and just the way two players play the game of curling. So we suggest that folks take advantage of the opportunity to get out to Portage for the mixed doubles trials in the first week in January.
Well, and some clubs across Manitoba have taken the opportunity to offer mixed doubles curling in their evening leagues. It's a little shorter time frame that you need, and it's also, you don't need 4 people, so it's easier to find a mate. And a lot of clubs have taken that up, and it's taking off in a lot of those clubs that have taken that opportunity to do that.
Well, that whole discussion of finding a mate, I'm not sure we want to pursue that very much further here tonight, but 4 rocks have been played. We have 2 blue stones, 2 Swedish stones, 1 a guard, a 1 in the 8-foot on the outside of the rings, 2 yellow stones, 2 Roth stones on the center, 1 in the 8-foot, 1 a center guard, and now Eileen Givens, the second for Nina Roth, will play the in-turn draw away from center down to the rock in the wings.
Just through. Whoa. Yep. Whoa.
Just playing a little bit of a tap here, Resby. tap and roll if they can.
Roth starts to run. Just past the guard. Little tap rolls open in that port.
Great work, buddy. Nice weight.
And Hasselborg will play a hit and roll back to the center line, in behind the two rocks on the center line.
Yeah.
Second Agnes Knockenhauer.
Now they're just taking a boo at which way they really want to roll. Do they want to roll behind their corner guard, or do they want to roll center? And just taking a look at what they need to do to make that happen. And that's my Swedish interpretation, Resby.
That Roth stone is wide open. The opportunity exists to roll either way, depending on the amount of curl they get on the rock. Sweep for the roll to center. Don't quite get that roll, and leaves the opportunity for Roth to hit.
She didn't overthrow this by any means. She just threw nice tap back weight at it, and they're waiting for it to cross the face, but it wasn't going to, so they sweep it as fast as much as they can to try and get that roll in towards center, and just died when it hit that stone, and it's left open for Nina Roth to take a hit at it.
Out turn. Eileen Gibbons got to get past that center guard. Just rubs it. Pushes the Swedish stone back into the back of the forfeit circle.
Well, she's still got a piece of it even with that rub. I think she just was a little tight of the target on this one when she let it go. They were sweeping right out of her hand, trying to get it by that top guard, and it just rubs, but it still makes contact with Hasselborg's blue stone in the top forefoot, just pushing it to the back, or to T-line 4.
Hasselborg does have last rock this end. Roth having scored 2 on the 5th. Agnes Knockenhauer with her second shot of the end. She'll attempt to play past the guard for a tap on the Roth stone in the 8-foot circle.
Oh, they're really going to have to work to get this one by. Resby is tight to that front guard.
Tight, but past it.
Wow.
And she does get the tap. Pushes out the back of the rings.
Great sweeping by the Hasselborg team. Just sweeping as fast as they can here to get it by. There's not much room for error here. It just squeaks by that top guard and makes contact with the Roth stone, pushing it out the back in line 2.
So U.S. third, Tabitha Peterson will play an in-turn hit. Nose jam.
Two options, hit and roll, or tree it, draw in there, and just put it half buried around the top guard. She's selecting to hit and roll.
Ja. Marginal vilka längre då? Ja.
This is third Sarah McManus. In-turn hit. Take a hit, roll across to the center line, or right across the rings.
And she's got lots of area to roll to here, Resby.
Into that swing turn. Cuts fast. Cuts past. Ticks her own rock in the 4-foot circle. Pushes it in the further back into the 8-foot.
Maybe just underthrown a little bit there, Resby.
I think that there was a need for more weight.
There's the in-turn at this, and it just starts to snap here on the in-turn and misses the Roth stone entirely and ticks her own over and rolls out. Great opportunity for Nina Roth now to lie 2.
An open hit in the port on the outturn side for Tabitha Peterson, worth her second rock of this 6th end.
Yep. Yep. Whoa. 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 Yep. Whoa. 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 Yep. 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 Okay.
And a roll near to the center line. Behind the guard, Hasselborg goes out of the button in front of that yellow rock.
Rolling towards the center isn't the greatest because now it sets up a catcher for Hasselborg. It's behind the tee line, so she can set up something full forefoot, biting the button. Like she's saying, we'll go with the out turn because we can control it. The in turn over curls, and that's not where we want it to be.
So it is Sarah McManus with her final stone of the 6th end. Out turn draw.
Bra linje. Vänta då. Nej, nej, nej.
This looks a little hot.
Nej, vänta linje. Bra linje.
Starting to come down now.
Gärna för. Måste vara fart. Japp. Måste vara
Dias
fart.
cuts.
Perfekt linje för frys. Japp. Den är inte frys. Okej. Lägg den bra, va?
Bring it into the top of the forefoot circle. Bite the button. Front of the button in front of the tee line.
Lovely shot.
Over buried on the straight side. The only way I can dig it out is this way. And that's in the way.
That moved in there pretty nice.
No.
Freeze?
Yep.
You did this in the second end, and it was nice.
Yeah.
Took a little bit to curl, but
I think this will be good. We're a little bit further over, and I can't really roll very far.
it's going in.
Right to her back, full of forefoot.
Roth will follow.
Full
Out turn draw
forefoot,
as
we can't
well.
bounce.
To that blue one. Perhaps tap it back a little bit.
Nej, jag var verkligen, nej, det var mer så här, vi går alla bara, alltså vi tänkte, eller så här, vi gillade båda. Så det var bara det. Det var skönt.
Same path we had 2 ends ago, Resby. Nina threw that out turn draw and tapped it. Same similar rock back and back forward.
7, 6.
First skip stone of the 6th end.
6, 7. Clean. Whoa. Line's great, you guys. Yep.
It approaches the hog line and begins to curl in.
Yep. Right on it. Line's good. Hard. Line's great. Go, go,
Sweep
go.
from Hamilton and Gevings.
All the way to it. Go, 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 go.
Gevings.
Great sweep, you guys. Nice job,
Right
Nina.
to the shot stone.
A nice draw by Nina Roth.
14-6 again. That's a little squirrely, right?
Alltså hon har inte skjutit nu heller.
Nej.
Den där gör man ju liksom.
Alltså hon har ju skjutit för att
Oh, they're just keeping it clean, and then it's just the weight starts to come down as the curls into the center line and sits on top of the Hasselborg stone.
Är det jätterisky att gå på dubben här?
Ja.
Är det? Ja. Det känns bara som att 2:an skulle sitta ner om vi får...
Här eller?
Ja. Vill vi vara hela vägen ner?
Kan man ha TT på sista? Så kan man spela TT på sista.
Hon kan inte lira TT. Men om vi är här.
Nej, vi kan göra
Ja, jag
det.
vet. Men om vi är här. Om kan hon lira på sin egen då?
Nej.
Hon kan ju lira TT.
Alltså egen mot egen. Och så...
Hon kommer alltid
Hon kan sätta en tunna, precis. Men då borde vi ändå... Då är vi där ändå.
Då har vi hela, det kan vi dra.
Well, a real conversation underway here, Maureen, the Hasselborg team genuinely trying to figure out what they have to do to come out of this with a score of more than 1.
Yeah, they're going to have to move those yellow-blue stones that are at the top of the forefoot and biting the button. Just need to get some separation on those. There is the in-off on the right-hand side, but she might keep that for her last stone.
Det blir samma utfall, eller?
Fast den är ju bättre. Då gör man ju den där. Fast den gör man väl kanske. Då gillar jag den som Aggan säger lite bättre.
I think at this point she just needs to tap it a little bit, get some separation on those stones. Otherwise it's going to be really hard to get to.
The intern draw to the yellow stone, bumps the blue back onto the back of the button, perhaps back to the Roth stone in the back of the forefoot. Still only shot rock, but she leaves herself on an angle on that top stone.
I would think following down on the out turn and getting some separation on those stones that way might be the easier one. Then you still leave the in off available for your last stone.
But now as the conversation continues, they look at running the guard. But only momentarily.
Alltså ta ett nu är bra också, vi kan garda. Nej, men,
ja, jag fattar.
Vi kan garda här, vi kan garda den och då gardar vi, alltså garda skjuten.
Det är den hon har och då har hon ingenting att förlora på den.
Nej.
Men vad var, när ni menar här?
Ja, då menade jag att då gardar man ju den dragningen.
Ja, men vad är det vi ska göra med den här sen?
Nej, precis. Vad ska vi göra med den sen?
Hur kommer den in i spel?
Ingenting.
Nej. Vad har hon nu?
Den.
Den, ja.
Den. Ja, den.
Alltså det är risky, kommer med lite fart, knacka ner.
This Hasselborg team finished fourth in the World Championship a year ago in Beijing. A good showing. They, in fact, lost the bronze medal game, if I'm not mistaken, to Eve Muirhead. To check my notes on that. They lost 6-4 to Eve Muirhead of Scotland in the bronze medal game at the World Championship 2017 in Beijing, Scotland. Hasselborg has in fact played in 3 world events. She played in the Women's Worlds in Beijing a year ago, or this past spring in 2017. She also played in the World Juniors 2009, 2010. In 2009, finished 6th. 2010, World Junior Champion, and the team they beat in the final was in fact Rachel Homan. So big improvement from 2009 to 10. Moving from 6th to 1st, and the common factor on the team, Agnes Knockenhauer, played on all 3 of those teams with Anna Hasselborg. So she's finally elected to play that out turn the way Maureen predicted some quite long time ago. They might have consulted with you, Maureen.
I can make all the shots from up here. It's very easy. My team would beg to differ.
At this stage, but you could make them all at one time. We know that.
Too kind.
The out turn to the corner of the yellow stone in the top of the forefoot.
Bra linje. Plats just nu. Bra linje. Bra linje. Ja, plats. Nästa plats. Vi har ingen linje.
Knockenhauer and Mobergs, the sweepers.
Nej, låt den jobba. Nu kommer den, nu kommer den. Bara frys! Lägg den frys. Japp, 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 japp.
Keeping the angle here.
Bra. Bra sådär. Bra så.
Satan vad den hängde kvar på din mikrofonlinje. Det är bra snack.
They're just coming down here with the out turn draw. Just kind of a setup shot. Doesn't have enough weight to tap it or move any of those stones, so just angles it in.
I don't mind. She's going to want to play the blue into the blue.
Yes.
So if, what if we put it like here?
Yeah.
Does she... So
Or
block
like
that?
here. Yeah. Or
well, I don't want to
out.
make it easier. I don't want to give her a better tool for it.
Take it out.
The stone just thrown by Hasselborg really doesn't set up very much for the Swedish team, does it, Maureen?
No, they needed to keep the angle a little bit, outside a bit more, but she still does have that yellow stone of Nina Ross on the 12-foot in-off
But at least that way her
opportunity.
shooter rolls.
Yeah.
Good too.
So it's a question now for the Roth team of which side do you want to protect, you could, the in-off that you described, Maureen, is an in-off probably for two, probably for sure, and with the right combination of angles, it can actually push the rock back on the button and move the rock out of the back forefoot. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is the run on that long corner guard, running it directly in onto the blue stone just thrown. That's in fact the only way that the stone just thrown by Hasselborg can come into play to turn this into a bigger end than a force.
Maybe get 3, don't you? Right, I like
For sure.
taking that away.
Or the other option is try and outdraw.
You like hit and roll?
There is a little piece of the button there, and you can get around there. You could try and draw to the edge of the button, but it just, on that in-turn side recipe, it just arcs in really quickly, so it would be a real precision draw.
The only thing is it opens up her draw on this side, too.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think I just throw a draw. I think I go here. Inside out.
So for a minute there, they were looking at removing that long blue guard, thinking about the possibility of it being run in, but in the end, you heard Nina Roth say, I think I just throw a guard. It's just a question of where.
I kind of like hitting that blue. Right? Hitting and rolling, like, then it blocks the draw and the, like that, block that, yeah. Go right in between them. Like, she's overthinking about things she's going to jam. Yeah.
She could take that.
Right?
In off away, hit her own stone and roll in.
I mean, because we're guarding their run back, but they, like, I think they want to play this one.
And that's fine if they do. Then it's,
I think I remember Carrie Burtnick saying there's no wrong call, it's just if you miss it.
Exactly.
You guys like this?
Yeah.
I mean,
either that or hit it.
Any other?
So Peterson holds the ice a couple of feet off center for an in-turn draw to draw across center as a guard, and in fact trying to take away that run, the long run in that we talked about. Maureen, I know you favored that in-off from the rock on the edge of the 8-foot right from the start, so you, if you were playing, you'd be delighted with this call by the U.S. team.
Yeah, I just feeling that in off. I like the look of it. And
Can we just guard that?
Yep.
Can we clean it high?
Oh, just guard it. 2. Okay, that's fine. Yep.
So Nina Roth has accomplished her objective. She wanted to take away that long run on the outside long guard. It's gone, forcing Anna Hasselborg, in fact, to play the shot that Maureen Bonner has been saying all along is the right call in this situation, with the possibility she springs off that rock in the 8-foot across into the yellow in the top of the 12-foot or the 4-foot circle, kills it. If it contacts the front of the blue stone on the button, it pushes it back to remove the rock from the back of the 4-foot, and it's 3 blue stones.
Well, if anybody can throw this hard enough to make it happen, Anna Hasselborg, we saw her play a beautiful shot against Carrie Anderson in that semifinal game, and 2 rocks were frozen, and she just threw a bullet down there and got lots of action on the rock, enough to squeeze it out and get shots. So looking forward to watching this shot.
And I have to tell you folks, describing that shot, I was writing all over our monitors here in the booth, and we've got green ink all over the monitor, but I didn't realize you couldn't see it. So we're now going to watch that out-turn hit, Hasselborg. She'll throw good weight at this one. Double kill with the possibility of just the right combination of angles, moving the blue stone off the button back into the yellow in the back of the 4-foot. 2-2, playing 6, Hasselborg Roth. Final stone of the 6th, Hasselborg, an out-turn hit. Bang, bang, no. Single point for Hasselborg, a force. Hasselborg of Sweden leads 3-2 after the 6th end. We'll be right back with coverage of the 7th end from Portage La Prairie and the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic on Shaw TV and Shaw Direct.
Tavern United, a new world sports pub. With a wide selection of sporting events televised at our 8 locations in Manitoba. Tavern United, your destination for great sports all the time.
Catch the action on Shaw TV for both the men's and women's finals in the 10th annual DeKalb Superspiel from the Morris Curling Club. This important World Curling Tour event will feature excellent competition with teams from across Canada and around the world. The DeKalb Superspiel Finals, Monday, November 20th at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m., exclusively on Shaw TV.
Welcome back to the Portage Curling Club. You're watching the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic Final. Follow the conversation on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at Shaw TV Winnipeg, hashtag curling on Shaw. Now let's send it back up to Resby and Maureen.
Thanks, Blair. We're into the start of the 7th end. The first single point of the game scored in the 6th after 3 blanks and a pair of deuces. Anna Hasselborg just slightly over curls Maureen with a big weight hit that just got a little too much of that rock on the outside of the rings, trying to spring off and make the double kill, possibly the triple, but certainly the double was a fairly makeable shot. She just over curled that little bit.
Yeah, just needed to hit a little thinner and roll in, and she did actually roll in and touch the yellow stone, but not thin enough, and only got the one.
So the opening rocks of this 7th end. Moberg of Sweden throws the rock into the top of the 12-foot circle. Hamilton goes with the corner guard. Hasselborg then calls for Moberg to play a second rock down center line. Center line guard perhaps tap on that rock in the 12-foot circle. Roth will ask Rebecca Hamilton to go behind the outturn draw behind her long corner guard, and this end, this game now is developing the way Nina Roth would want it to, Maureen.
For sure. She's looking at an opportunity to score her deuce or multiples, and you know, if it doesn't pan out, she'll likely try and go for a blank, but it's setting up fairly well for her. We've said that before, though. And
things did go differently than we were thinking they were going to. As the Hamilton draw comes up just short of the rings. Pair of corner guards now. Hasselborg asked Knockenhauer to play an outturn, remove from play that rock just thrown by Rebecca Hamilton.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I called it, so.
Easily past the top guard. Hit and roll removes her own stone from play. Rolls up.
So throws fairly good weight at this, just wants to peel it off and roll away, but it just jams on the top 12-foot stone that she has there and rolls up, as Resby said, and is fully open.
We lost visual on that rock on our monitor, so we're not sure at this point whether that rock did come to rest biting the top of the 12-footer or whether it rolled up completely out of play.
Yeah, it's
or
still
at least
biting.
not out of out of the
Got it, curl,
rings.
babe, back. Line's
Maureen
getting
thinks
better.
it's still biting.
Yes. Yep, yep. Yep. Hi. Yep, she's dying. Yep. Yep.
And I'm prepared to speculate that it is biting.
Over towards me. Yep, yep, yep. More.
Now Eileen Gibbon makes the draw behind the corner guard that
Buried all the way.
Roth had asked for earlier, and is well behind.
Didn't even touch off there, sorry.
More behind than the previous, but Hasselborg looks at it again about the possibility of removing it.
Is it buried all the way? Yeah. Good.
Just gonna throw a little less weight at this. Maybe just a bumper shot. That's a high corner guard, so she has room to come around there, Resby.
Remember, with the hit weight, she missed that top guard by about 4 inches. Just lighter out-turn hit. Curls up toward the guard. Passes it very close, gets the hit, and she will roll over fully behind.
Oh, that's a lovely shot.
Run back to the
Great weight control on that by Naganauer. They just sweep it to get it by, and it just squeaks by. There's not much space in between there, and rolls. After she makes contact, rolls right behind the corner or the high center guard.
And as you saw that rock rolling into the 4-foot circle, you saw that I was right. That rock was biting the top of the 12-foot circle. Eileen Geving, an out-turn draw.
Becky! Yep! Whoa! Becky! Yep! Hard! Hurry! Hard! Hurry! Go!
Insta go as it comes to the hog line.
Whoa!
Sweepers just get it by that guard.
Yep!
Tapping the rock 4 foot back. Leaves it back in the 12-foot.
They're calling me.
So they're starting to work it where it starts to really bend here on the in turn, and they just squeak it by that top guard, make contact with the Hasselborg stone at the top of the 4-foot, just push it back to the back 12.
Kommer det mycket? Ja, sköla ganska lugnt och fint, men det finns sköl. Ja, så lite.
This is Sarah McManus with her first shot of the end. An in-turn at a rock, now half open.
Got to watch out for the jam here, Resby.
Doesn't curl up to get the jam, picks it out, rolls out the back of the rings.
So it just hangs out on them here, and she's got fairly firm weight. Catches a piece of that yellow stone in the 8-foot and splits herself off the, rolls out of the rings.
Tabitha Peterson. Third on the team from Blaine, Minnesota. An in-turn draw, attempting to get it into the center line in behind those rocks. She's a bit wider. Begins to come now.
Well, she had great weight on that. It just never came over.
Once again, the yellow Roth stone is about half open on the center line, butting the top of the button. As Maureen mentioned, the jam is has to be a concern.
Well, this one's really going. They're going to have to push hard, get it by the front.
To get it by the front, get that, but they do get the jam that Maureen predicted. Roll wide open.
Oh, great
Roth wise.
opportunity. Sorry, Resby. Great opportunity for Nina to utilize the stone. Comes by the guard and just hits enough of that stone. Straight jam on the back, 12-foot stone. Hasselborg pushes it out, but Nina now has a chance to hit and roll behind lie 2.
Good sweep call on that, Maureen. There was a real risk of a jam if they overswept too much, and it clearly wasn't going to come up to get the roll they wanted.
Yeah, I think they just had to bail on this early, not getting the roll they wanted to the inside. So just rolled just a little bit away as much as they could without jamming on the back 12 rock.
So Anna Hasselborg with her first rock of this 7th end will play an out-turn hit. Rolling behind the corner guard doesn't do her any good, Maureen. She'll be still second shot.
Sticking around is important.
Yep.
The out-turn hit, she's looking to hit, roll to center behind the center guards, but doesn't come up enough, over curls, or doesn't curl enough, gets and rolls out.
Well, Anna was trying to call them off, let it curl up, let it finish so she could get the roll here, but it just hangs on her and doesn't get enough of this stone when she makes contact rolling out across the house. This gives Nina Roth a great opportunity to sink one in there.
I don't want to leave her a double or a hit and flop.
And then never again.
So I think we got to bury at least 3/4.
Okay, I think make it good.
We get a little piece of the blue. So that's where I had you.
Yeah.
That looks good to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, yeah, let's go, Tim.
That'd be great.
I'm talking about like this guy.
Right.
I think burying's important.
Yeah.
But I'd like it to be full 8 foot to just top 4 foot. Okay, 90-95.
Nina Roth, the first shot of this end. Rebecca Hamilton.
I got room right now.
Geving sweep.
5, 6. Make it a 6. Yep. Line's good. Hold. Yep. Yep. Go now, hard line.
Comes down to center. She's got to get it by that guard.
She's got a great rock if they can take it in farther.
Full 8 foot. She would have liked it deeper than that.
The weight starts to come off here and they start sweeping, trying to get it by that front stone, just gets around it, loses its weight and ends up just in the 8 foot.
Alltså på den tappar vi inte till. Det är ett rakt och fint spår.
Samtidigt sätter vi den, forcear vi.
And Hasselborg looking at the out turn side here, Resby.
Kanske dutta lite grann.
Spelade den där, var den här matchen?
Looking at a number of options. Looking at a run on the blue to move the shot stone. Looking at a draw to the rock at the back of the ring.
Nej, det ser omöjligt ut här. Så tycker jag. Ja.
Det kände du spontant för?
Absolut den tycker jag.
Du tycker det? Ja, men då så. Du spelar vi den. Ja.
Probably draw to that rock in the back of the 8-foot from either side.
I don't mind the out-turn draw to that back stone.
Jag har gärna hammaren hem.
Det visste du.
Och dubben finns ju. Rewarden är väldigt stor här.
Dubben finns och sätt den. Spela hårt på dubben.
Ja.
Gillar den Anna.
Om den finns.
Jag tänker ändå att jag kan spela en 8 bara.
Den är väldigt sned, eller? Är det inte det?
Inte om man ska spela den raka liksom.
Nej.
Du har sett den?
Ja.
Den är bra.
I think she can still bury around that out-turn to forfeit even.
8 va?
Jag håller med.
They haven't thrown a lot down there though.
Så långt ut, men det känns som att det ändå glider på bra när man kommer utanför ändå.
Jag gillar den här. 8.
Final Hasselborg stone of the 7th end.
8.
She's elected to play a hit.
Går vi på den, alltså på trippen? Ja.
Run the blue across the face of the yellow and try to run it straight back for a double kill. That was a question, Maureen, not a statement.
Yeah, I don't think that's there. I think it's important that she keeps one of her blue stones in play in the house. She might need it in her next shot.
And a Hasselborg out-turn hit.
Yep. Hårt! Janet! Janet!
Blue onto yellow.
Okay.
Hits and rolls away.
While they work this, it's a little bit tight. She's hitting all she can see of that blue stone. Just gets a piece of the yellow Roth stone and hits it out of the rings. Rolls away herself. Nina Roth still is sitting one in the back 12 foot and has an opportunity to sink this one even better than she did with her first.
But
that's a hair more,
this
isn't
being
it?
the last rock of the end, sinking is not so critical as a simple opportunity to throw it in the rings for the second point to go up one coming home.
95, 90?
Not sure about that last call, what the objective was.
I guess she was happy giving her 2.
I suppose you're right, the draw, playing the draw creates the risk of giving up a 3. Playing that run creates a deuce. Hasselborg down 1 coming home with the hammer, assuming this draw is made. And they're working very hard on it.
All the way, girls. Go, 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 go. Yep. Gotta go.
Hamilton and Geving.
Just has to bite the full 12.
Bring it to the top of the rings. Comes to rest in the 8-foot circle, biting 12-foot. Roth scores 2 to go up 4-3. First lead of the game. Roth over Hasselborg 4-3 as we go to the 8th end. You're watching the Canadians Women's Classic of 2017 on Shaw TV and Shaw Direct. We'll be back with the 8th.
Who's this? Oh, it's Chloe. Chloe has an idea she wants to share with the world. She picks up her camera, she shoots her video.
Hey, where do frogs keep their money? At the riverbed.
And finally she edits her masterpiece. Chloe then sends her video to Shaw TV where it can be aired on community producers. It's just that easy. If you want to be like Chloe, email us at createtv@shaw.ca. Community producers, every fortnight on Shaw TV.
Canad's Destination Centers, proud to support our community with 10 destination centers in Manitoba.
Well, it is the 8th and final, potentially, end of the final game, the Canadians Women's Classic for 2017. Anna Hasselborg from Sweden trails Nina Roth from the United States by a score of 4-3. Roth having scored a deuce on the 4th end, and Hasselborg will have last rock, down 1 coming home. Roth immediately threw the first rock. Rebecca Hamilton's draw to the top of the button. Hasselborg asks her lead, Sophia Maubergs, to play the corner guard. To our viewers, we appreciate you being with us through this coverage of the Canadians 2017 Women's Classic. We'll remind you that if this in fact does prove to be the final end of the game, that we'll take a quick break at the end of the game and then come back for a post-game show, which will include an interview where Malistravich will talk with the winning skip, and then we'll go to the Canadians Awards ceremony.
Some beautiful hardware to be won today. Beautiful glass trophies. There's a shot of them right there. You see that Canadian trophy, beautiful maple leaf.
Om inte annat så.
Kan gilla den också.
Ja. Skulle vi göra så kan vi dra runt kornen också.
Vad sa du?
Hamilton puts up that center guard, not quite the perfect guard, but enough that Hasselborg is giving a lot of consideration to what her next call needs to be. She's elected to go past the guard to the rock and the butt, the forefoot. Sophia Maubergs, second shot of the 8th end.
They're going to have to go hard on this. Resby is taking off on them.
Little underthrown in that run.
Still not too bad.
You don't like guarding?
You can. That one's in. We got to make sure they don't get 2. I mean, which side do you guard?
They don't have the side run right now. We guard. How are they going to get that?
Guard this?
Guard the blue one. I don't know.
I don't know if I like that.
Don't love running that blue back.
Talking about the guard, Maureen, that would suggest going all out for a steal.
Maybe a little bit early to commit to that.
The other 3 players on the team not totally convinced that that's a real good idea. And Tabitha Peterson comes out to chat with Nina Roth.
I know. I just don't love this.
Well, they don't really. The shot that they're kind of talking about is that removal of the blue stone, and there is the danger of jamming it. I think that's where their comfort zone in this shot isn't really there.
We put up a guard. They're gonna.
Are we worried about this at all, or it's worth peeling this?
If we draw
I think
around,
we've got.
they'll probably run the blue.
Yeah. I suppose if we peel that.
Then what do they
What
play?
does she do?
That.
Which
They
is
want to
fine.
make a double before.
Yeah. Make a double.
That's fine.
Are we
Or
worried
she's-
about that right now, though?
We peel and
Or
roll
we
to
can hit
center
that.
as
Well, I'm
well.
just saying, I mean, if we
do that,
if we
she's
peel
gonna
this,
double.
what does she really do? That's going to be, even she's got to make a great run. We still got our guard, if that's the case.
Do you like it? Do you want to roll?
I mean, yeah, just
or just
peel
peel it.
Straight pull, straight peel and roll away too. Resby is an option.
It's not the ideal setup for her to get 2 right now if we peel this. This is our...
Right.
Okay. I don't mind that.
I don't know. That's
up to you, Neen. I like all 3 of our options.
Great.
So you're the skip. You decide.
So we've talked it
You also
over,
play that too.
but you're the
I
skip.
don't like that. I don't like
And there's
that.
the shot that
That's
I've
not
been
one of
wondering
the
about the
three.
whole
That
time.
wasn't
Why
one of the
not
three.
run
You
that
like
yellow
those
onto
peelies?
blue, roll the yellow onto the 12-foot circle?
Telling me that.
Maybe even out of play and just leave it wide open with a rock in the butt.
Definitely another
Definitely
option.
not plan A, B, or C.
But in the end, we elect to play the peel.
I just would hate to make. I just don't know how they're gonna get too.
Oh, she's bringing the play back to the
I'm on board
forefoot
with
this
this.
way,
Say 10 for threes.
closing down the point scoring
Don't worry about that.
area for Hasselborg.
Here.
Eileen Gavin,
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Yep.
her first shot of this 8th inning.
Hard.
In-turn peel on the outside corner guard.
Whoa.
Rolls across center.
Whoa.
Leave it. Leave it.
Spin it back. Spin it back.
Or spin it back. Nice shot, Eileen.
Okay.
Wanting to peel this and roll entirely away. She hits it a little thicker and just rolls over across the other side of the house and leaves a corner guard for Hasselborg.
Nej, på den gula. Ja, precis. Eller raka.
Kan man inte vicka på våran egen då?
Kan man vicka på blåa? Ja, samtidigt är det också det enda stället där vi kan bränna vår egen. Ja.
Ja.
She could
Jag tror jag
ignore
gillar
that and
den
draw
i alla
around
fall.
that corner
Jag
guard
gillar också den.
or split the two blue ones at the front.
Ja.
She's got lots of options here.
Sen skulle vi ta lite...
Vi ger dem inte en enkel dubbel och så ligger de för så vi inte kommer runt sen.
Ska jag göra kvar kornen då i alla fall?
Jag gillar det. Ja, jo, jag tänkte
Jag tror det är bra.
kvar då för.
11.
Ja.
Hur långt vill du vicka då? Så jag tänker nästan att vi kanske kommer ha lite stöd så.
Ja.
Men, för det är svårt att vicka dit liksom, men... Ja.
11.
So the call for Agnes Knockenhauer is an in-turn. Contact the yellow, roll across the blue behind that yellow corner guard. If she rubs the blue, she pushes it a little bit further into the rings. The angle's fairly extreme. If she gets any amount of the yellow at all, she'll roll across the blue. In turn from Agnes Knockenhauer.
Mission
Rolls wide,
accomplished.
bite.
Line 2. Tries to cross and hit this yellow stone and roll into the 12-foot to lie 2. I think if she was going to try and play that bump, she would have called them on it earlier, Resby, but she just let the rock go into it.
Wanted it to roll across. She's left a double kill.
And she got rid of the front guard, so mission accomplished on that.
Eileen Geving in turn hit.
Possibly a double here, Resby.
Yes. Kills 2. Rolls out the back of the rings. Hasselborg will play a guard or draw now behind the corner guard.
Well, that was the danger of setting those two up across from each other with the Hasselborg stones. Gave the option of the double and hitting the back of that 12-foot rock, removing both Hasselborg stones.
Second Agnes Knockenhauer. Out-turn draw.
Bra linje, håll lite. Linjen är bra. Bra fart nu, bara fart. Kom en bil där. Gå. Fjärr lite. Bra linje, bara fart. Gå. Ta det till då, byt. Gå. Gå. 15 gå. Gå. Bra linje, gå.
McManus with the sweep. About half open behind that corner guard.
We're trying to draw around that corner guard, get it buried, and it just loses its weight ends up sticking out still about halfway. Nina Roth can now remove it.
Little down. Stay close.
Third Tabitha
Off,
Peterson.
Eileen.
An out turn up the center line. Gonna have to wait for it to curl.
Hard.
Gotta make it curl.
Hard.
She'll slide by. Just a little rub pushes it even better behind the guard.
That wasn't what they wanted for sure. Not sure if she just had a little bit too much ice for this spot. It doesn't curl as much as the other spots on the ice, and just ran straight on her, picks a little bit of the blue one over and rolls out.
And the call for Sarah McManus is to play the out turn hit and roll to the wide side, the open side, to lie two with the rings completely split.
Well, this one's hanging out. She can't afford to roll out here. Nina will go for the straight back.
Comes up to that big contact, rolls, does roll away. Missed opportunity, Maureen.
For sure. Nina, look at the replay here and just maybe overthrew this outside and it runs straight. Doesn't hit enough of the yellow stone and rolls just outside the rings at the back. Nina Roth has an opportunity now to run the yellow onto the blue, straight back takeout.
Final shot in the end for Tabitha Peterson.
Yep.
Good loss, third. And the runabout. Makes the contact, doesn't get the kill, but the worst possible combination of results, and rolls it to the button and rolls the center line guard.
Wow, they just lost that late in that throw. It was looking so good, and it just came up at the end, over curling. As you can see, she just hits off the inside face of that stone, which just misses the back blue stone, pushing it into the button.
Now Sarah McManus with her final rock of this eighth end. Out turn draw, she'll go to the top of the forefoot.
She doesn't want to be deep with this, Bresby.
Wants to get to the point where she's just cutting the center line so that there's a little bit of angle on either side, a little bit open.
Nice stone by
near perfect
Sarah. So she doesn't want to be deep with this. They're just cleaning it as it starts to curl in here. They want to half tuck it around the corner or the center guard and what we refer to as treeing them. So it looks like a Christmas tree if you're looking straight down the center of the ice. Nina's going to play the straight back and hopefully double the blue stones off.
Yep. Little less, Tab. Huh? Little less.
First of Skip Rock's eighth end, the final game of the Canadians 2017 Women's Classic. Nina Roth, Blaine, Minnesota. Turn hit, run that guard in.
Well,
she makes the double contact.
Yeah, did she get it far enough, Resby?
They're looking very closely.
They work this really hard. They got to hold the line on this for the straight back and just clips the blue stone enough. The one goes out the side and the other one's, they're sweeping desperately to get it out the back and it just holds on.
Det är inte så jävla enkelt att dra heller.
Det är det hon har gjort hela matchen.
Ja. Vad sa du? Jo, där är ju.
Well, with your eagle
Vill man
eye.
lägga två eller vill viva först
Well,
här?
honestly, I think I saw the Hasselborg team indicating they thought it was yellow, but they're looking again.
Jag tycker det kändes väldigt kul. Men kolla.
Ja, jag tycker det känns väldigt kul.
Now another set of eyes.
Jag tycker bara dra lite.
But we didn't really get any indication from all of those eyes. We're not sure.
Ja, exakt. Tänk bara att inte lämna en sån dragning.
Ja, så ligger vi helt inne.
Har jag den här.
Jag kan gilla helt inne på 4.
Ja. Samma linje
So indicating top 4.
Min gick ju helt själv.
Ja. Lite till.
Nej, vi smålar ändå lite Sara.
Okej, jag tyckte vi bara drog den lite på slutet.
Min gick ju helt själv.
Hasselborg with her first rock of this 8th end will attempt to make use of that center line guard.
Vad hade ni på långa på min?
Circle.
Vad sa du? Ja, men gott en sten där. Ja, vad vill ni ha?
Alltså, jag tycker inte att Sara hittar helt själv. Det är smågrupperna.
Vad var hogg på min?
14-3.
Typ samma då? Ja. Vad sa ni vill ha för split?
10. Är det optimalt att bajta 4 eller?
Jag tycker optimalt nästan full 4. Ja. För annars kan hon ju bli stopp på runddragning på andra sidan.
I'm keeping track of the stones this time. There's 3 stones to come, Resby.
I wasn't going to mention that you got off a bit.
Yeah, I just kind of fallen asleep a little bit there.
Ha plats just nu.
Bra linje. Lira lite.
Håll ner soporna.
Hasselborg, her first rock of the 8th end, an 8-turn draw.
Perfekt linje.
Bra linje.
To bring it into the 4-foot behind the center line.
It's really hanging out there.
The weight she wanted, but she has left her stone wide open.
Yeah, beautiful weight.
What is it? It's
Roth
like
team
a.
looking, thinking it's yellow.
Okay.
That's the indication that I get.
I think I like.
Their action suggests that it's also yellow. So now
It is us for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
You can't.
Roth
Oh, you want to hit through the
Yeah, yeah. No, I want to
inside
hit
roll
the
to the center line.
Okay.
Behind the cover
Even nose isn't the end of the world.
forces Hasselborg to draw for a single and an extra
Hack?
in.
Yeah.
If she can pull that off, it's
I don't care what we play,
the
as long as
result
that
that
blue
Roth
gets
would have
out.
wanted.
Yeah.
It
Well,
looks
she would
like
have
that.
wanted a steal, but that wasn't going to happen the way this end developed. So,
No.
Hack is good. Okay.
Yeah.
Sticking around is
Or
great.
she could get a little flop on this behind that center guard. It
But a
would
little flop
make
would be
the
really nice.
Anna Hasselberg's last stone very difficult.
That was a lot.
Nina Roth with her final shot of the game, potentially. Certainly final shot of this 8th end. Right turn. Lightweight hit past that center guard.
Whoa. Whoa.
Wanted to make contact, roll to the center line, buried.
Whoa. Back up.
The 2 appears to be hanging out a little bit.
Yep. Go back up. Back up. Hard back. Okay.
That's a really nice weight at that.
Doesn't get the roll, she hits and sits wide open. Assuming we're right in believing that the yellow rock in the 12-foot is second shot, Hasselborg is playing for a nose hit to go to an extra end.
With how many times they looked at those 2 stones, they might go for a measure just to make sure the
I would
rings are
expect
true.
they would. I would expect there'll be a measure if Hasselborg sticks for 1.
almost the same spot that Sarah McManus threw down, and it tracked a bit on them. She upped her weight, so just watch, see what kind of weight Anna throws here.
Final shot of the 8th end. An out-turn hit, Anna Hasselborg.
Upp lite. Nej! Syrar. Ingenting. Kommer nu, låt den vara lite. Rent nu. Nej! Den är ganska kvar. Ja.
Coming to that yellow stone in the 4-foot circle. She sticks 4-1.
We can measure those two.
Well, we'll see if they measure those or if they just call it a 1.
So we have a tie game with a measure, possibly to determine a winner, possibly to determine that we get some bonus. It's been an interesting game, Maureen. We had those 3 blank ends at the start that built up some time so that if we do go to an extra end, we're still playing in the same time that you might normally have expected the game to go. The teams traded a pair of deuces in the 4th and the 5th, and then Hasselborg was forced to take a single in the 6th. Roth came back with 2 in the 7th to lead by 1 coming home. Anna Hasselborg has scored a single point with her hit with her last rock. Almost rubbed that blue rock when she promoted the rock through the rings. But so Hasselborg has scored 1. The game is tied 4-4, pending the result of this measure.
It looks like yellow.
So it is yellow if we can trust the traditional display, which confused us yesterday. But it is a single point. And the teams will go to an extra end tied 4-4. You're watching the Canadians Classic 2017 in Portage la Prairie.
Hello, who's this? Oh, it's Chloe. Chloe has an idea she wants to share with the world. She picks up her camera, she shoots her video.
Hey, where do frogs keep their money? At the riverbed.
And finally she edits her masterpiece. Chloe then sends her video to Shore TV, where it can be aired on community producers. It's just that easy. If you want to be like Chloe, email us at createtv@shore.ca. Community producers, every fortnight on Shore TV.
Canad Inn's Destination Centers, proud to support our community with 10 destination centers in Manitoba.
Back above sheet number 5 for an extra end in the Canadians Women's Classic. Our first extra end in 6 games, 3 a week ago in the Canadians Men's Classic, 3 this weekend in the Women's Classic, but our first extra end. And Maureen, a nice aspect of the Bonspiel here, the teams have kicked the rocks down to the far end and will play to the home end, giving the spectators in the club the opportunity to see the action in the home end up close. It happens in some Bonspiels, not in others, but it's a nice aspect of this Bonspiel.
Oh, for sure. You're going to be kicking them down one way or the other, so nice to play them towards the home end. Give everybody a clear view of the rings.
And makes it just a little bit easier for us to call the play as well.
For sure, we can see the rings better this way and know when the rocks are in the house and when they aren't.
Hasselborg puts up the center guard, Rebecca Hamilton playing what we assume from the weight was the tick shot to try to move it from the center line. Just about made it, missed it just by a half inch or so.
There's some crowd members today watching the curling.
You got this one. Bra linje.
Sophia Mauberg with her second shot. Another center guard. She'll try to get this one in on that Canadiens logo, perhaps just a little closer to the rings.
Same room should be good. It's the same room. Yeah, this is the same room you just had for that one. It should be
top one. So I think we need
How's
a
there?
little more.
Okay, she just gave one.
Yeah. Ollie.
same weight.
Return hit from Rebecca Hamilton to remove that guard just thrown by Mauberg. Oh, there I miscalled that one, Maureen. My first mistake of 6 games. No, I admitted to my first mistake of last weekend, my first mistake of this weekend.
Yeah, they couldn't remove that stone.
Hadn't counted the rocks. Rock goes back in play. And Hasselborg will now play draw.
Jag tyckte det satt lite på slutet.
Nej.
Vi satte lite efter hugg.
Agnes Knockenhauer.
Tyckte jag.
First shot of the extra end.
Jag har Aggie.
Jag tog 4-10.
Ja.
Bra linje!
Känns Paul. Gå då.
Bra linje! Ja linje! Ja linje! Hårt! Gärna!
McManus and Mauberg on the sweep here. Trying to bring it by that center guard, but they will rub roll just a little bit.
Fortsätt avstånd.
Nina has an opportunity here to run all these off. Hits it right.
Eileen Gary with the run field attempt.
Go, you got it! Hard!
1, 2, 3.
Oh, shit, that was better than I called.
Nice job, Eileen.
Atta girl.
Really nice throwing stone here. She gets it on the high side of the top guard and runs it into the 2, covering the 4-foot area. Gets them all going. Leaves her shooter up there as a guard, but gets rid of all the blue in the front area of the house.
She wasn't going to remove all 3 guards and roll her Yellowstone away, so this is the best possible result she could have hoped for. Hasselborg will throw another center guard.
Mellanhake. Gå då, viktigt nedanför.
Mikael, gå.
Gå, viktigt nedanför. Gå.
Mellan.
Hela vägen. Viktigt. Gå.
Yes, across the center.
Gå.
Crosses the hog line. Almost up to center.
I mean, we should play it this way, but I think I should play the shooter that way, right?
I don't want it to.
I don't mind playing that intern again.
Yeah, I like the intern.
You don't like just one?
Well, the intern is 4-1, and if we just hit the yellow back.
Oh,
yeah,
I see where you're
Yeah, I don't like hitting the blue that way.
I don't either.
Throw an intern peel. Maureen, the objective really to get rid of the blue stone. If the angle is just perfect, she gets rid of the yellow, but that's a bonus.
Hard.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
That girl. That's right.
Across the face
Good
of it.
job.
I really just jumped on that line.
It really jumped.
Didn't want to try too hard for that double because it's pretty thin double, and throw it between those stones. Advantage goes back to Hasselborg, who now has to replace the center guard.
Bra linje. Känns det bra? Bra skottet?
Nej, jag ville bara öka den. Jag var färdig. Det är för sent.
I don't know if you noticed, Maureen, somebody there in the background got some pepper or something.
Yeah, it got the sneezes going back there.
The guard slides a little deeper than they would have wanted. Roth will play a hit on it. Tabitha Peterson.
Clean. Whoa. Whoa. Atta girl.
Rips the guard off.
Nina Roth will be happy just to keep that forefoot open.
Hello. Good throws on both rows.
Fucking hate missing those sticks.
Sarah McManus, the Swedish third. One more guard attempt.
Bra linje. Samma
Bollen borde
linje.
glida ganska bra.
Ser ut att leva ganska bra. På samma linje. Ganska rakt. Går väldigt rakt.
Gärna curla om det går.
Kolla upp.
Sooner or later, the Hasselborg will have to use that yellow guard, but it's not a great guard to try to steal behind.
No.
Leaves the forefoot wide open. You're basically counting on the opposition skip missing what would be called a routine draw. Roth calls for Tabitha Peterson to play another field.
Clean. Clean.
Yep, clean.
Clean. Yep. In. Oh, that's right.
So is this a shot where Hasselborg goes behind, or does she play another guard?
Well, she could go around it now.
Ner på om vi vill lägga en
Maybe
hög fast in i
entice Nina to chase her.
Kom igen. Säg att vi drar en bra skott. Hon kommer ju försöka.
Or she could play a guard half behind this yellow guard to give herself a little larger area.
Alltså om vi kan ändå visa halva. Om vi lägger här. Eller?
Om man skulle lägga här.
And Anna Hasselborg just went right up to where you had just said. It's like she heard you, Resby.
Jag bara tänker om vi lägger här nu, T-line, halva öppen. Och de väljer att gå ner. Kanske ligger kvar, eller ligger de inte kvar så rundar vi bara helt sen.
Jag funderar på om vi ser att vi skulle hamna här. Och hon går på den. Och inte vickar av helt. Då har vi någonting att runda. Man vill ju nästan locka.
The four rocks to come this end is very much gone the way Nina Roth wanted it to. It sets up for her to have, at the very worst, a draw to the button, a draw full forefoot for the win.
Jag har inte sett henne spela en 20 minuter liksom. Om vi säger att hon skulle missa den då har vi flyttat in, då har vi vettig här. Det är ju bara om hon rundar som det är, men det kan också vara hennes
nackdel. Ja, jag bara tänker om vi har, så här, vad gillar vi bäst? Kan vi lägga en där och en där? Om hon skulle vara garden. Själv är på det. Är det nja på det, eller?
Nja på det skulle jag säga.
Ja, men
då kommer den här vara helt öppen.
Ja, enda jag är rädd för det är om vi lägger en gard och hon rundar. Perfekt.
Ja.
Då rundar vi henne så ligger
I'm sure this is a very interesting conversation.
Men säg att vi ligger här.
Two shots they're discussing.
Skulle vi
Whether they
lägga
put the guard
någonstans
or come
Eller
in.
också garden, ja precis. Då hittar vi också linjen. Jag tänker att så här, för då har jag, vi säger att vi skulle vara här. Ja, men det är okej. Ja. Säger att det är här, då är
At this point too, Resby, you need to think, Nina's had beautiful draw weight the whole game. You really need to get a shot that's going to be a counter and force a really tough draw. That is that out-turn spot too. If they came into the house, it's a little bit tricky. It's a little straighter. They got fooled on it in the last end. And all those things you have to think about. Where with this rock, where it might have an opportunity to, cause an error.
So in the end, the call is a outturn, a guard just short of the rings, angled a little bit or buried a little bit behind that yellow guard in order to make the guarded area of the forefoot a little bit bigger. There should happen to be a miss. Anna Hasselborg with her first drop at the extra end. The Canadians 2017 Women's Classic. An outturn guard attempt. Not going to be as deep as she wanted it.
Need to watch here. Angle that blue onto the yellow stone on the right. That wouldn't be a good thing.
Yeah. Try to hit it over our yellow.
I heard Nina say outturn peel should try to hit it across the face of the yellow. Curls up more than she wanted to, Maureen, but rolls across out of play. So
yeah, she had firm weight on that. That weight helped it. She hit quite a bit of this stone in trying to peel it off, and her weight saved her on this. They were able to roll it away from the center of the sheet.
So now with her last rock of this extra end, Anna Hasselborg will have to go to the rings behind that guard covering the edge of the forefoot circle.
And it's a high guard too, Resby.
Den jag spelade outen den här som vi ekade som blev topp 4. Ja, det var 0. Ja, 0. 0. Ja. Det känns mycket, men vad tror du?
Alltså vi ska inte över jättemycket heller.
Sant.
Jag tror jag gillar det här.
Yes. Ja.
Anna Hasselborg. Final shot of the extra end, an outturn draw around the high guard. Try to get to the edge of the forefoot circle.
Jättebra linje, bara er. Ha plats. Bra linje. Agnes, perfekt linje.
She's well by the guard.
Perfekt linje. Kolla upp. Upp, gärna kolla. Agnes, kolla lite. Agnes, kolla lite. Nej, räcker.
It's over into the edge of the forefoot, a little deep in the forefoot. She does get the line. She's behind that yellow guard, but she's left Nina Roth a draw to bite the forefoot to win the game.
Got it. That was a 14-2, Becca.
Straight draw to the forefoot. Not using the Hasselborg rock at this point for backing. Just straight draw.
All right, full forefoot. Nice 90.
That's some gross stuff. All right, Nate. Full forefoot. All right. 90?
Yep.
Okay. Full forfeit.
Final shot of the 2017 Women's Classic, Canadians Women's Classic. This is the shot for the championship. Hasselborg has a rock in the back of the 8-foot circle buried. Roth needs to draw a bite of the 4-foot for the victory.
Where is it, back?
Just keeping it clean. Coming
Comes
down.
to the button.
Sit.
Back of the button.
Sit.
Strong sweep put by McManus, but not quite good enough. Nina Roth, Blaine, Minnesota, and her team of Tabitha Peterson, Eileen Geving, Rebecca Hamilton are the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic champions. You're watching the Canadians Women's Classic from Portage La Prairie. We'll be right back with our post-game show.
If you got content, we got a place for it. Hit up Create TV at shaw.ca.
Catch the action on Shaw TV for both the men's and women's finals in the 10th annual DeKalb Superspiel from the Morris Curling Club. This important World Curling Tour event will feature excellent competition with teams from across Canada and around the world. The DeKalb Superspiel Finals, Monday, November 20th at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m., exclusively on Shaw TV. Well, Maureen, not as dramatic a game as we've seen from some of our other games, but in the end, Nina Roth, full value for a victory.
Yeah, for sure. Hasselborg did what she could to try and generate a point, and Nina Roth was having none of it. She kept that 4-foot open for her last rock and drew confidently to the 4-foot for the win.
A shot that should give her a lot of confidence going forward to the American Olympic trials.
Oh, for sure. This is a great win for her going into that November trial, and I think that'll just be momentum to continue on and build upon this.
And Blair Malistravich is down at ice level with the U.S. Olympic hopeful Nina Roth.
All right, Nina, let's talk about that game.
It was a good one.
Yeah, it was awesome. People are going to think we paid you to make amazing TV because that was intense, just back and forth and back and forth.
It was a good game.
Now, why do you think everything came together at the end?
I think it was just a battle between both teams. You know, whenever we had the hammer, that team was going kind of gangbusters, trying to get their deuce, and we were able to force in 6, which was great. And then, yeah, just got the hammer at the right time.
Yeah, it worked out. Let's talk about what's up next for you guys.
Next we go to Whitby, and then a week after that we have the Olympic trials.
So exciting. Congratulations again. I'm going to send it back up to Resby and Maureen.
Just a final word, Maureen. We've had 2 great weekends here in Portage La Prairie, the Canadians men's, the Canadians women's classic, and another not as dramatic a game as we said, but certainly after those first 3 blank hands, we didn't know what direction this game was going to go, and ends up with that draw to the 4-foot circle for a 5-4 victory for Nina Roth. Great entertainment.
Oh, great entertainment, and what more can you ask? Going an extra end, and these 2 teams battled it out. We've had wonderful curling throughout the last 2 weeks, and hats off to the volunteer crew here that puts on this event every year. They do a bang-up job, and also to Shaw for for bringing this to the people, the audience out there in curling land.
And throughout, every time we talked with the players, they talked about the ice. Farrell Asham and the ice crew, mostly volunteers at the Portage Curling Club, making ice conditions. We used to call it arena ice conditions, but properly it should be called championship ice conditions. And certainly we had championship ice conditions here again these 2 weeks.
You know, what more can you ask for? The curlers love this venue. They come here, they stay here, they walk from their room to the with their curling gear on to the ice surface, and beautiful ice to play on. And as a curler, you can't ask for anything more. Beautiful facility and awesome event.
So we started the day with a house full of Olympic hopefuls. All 8 teams that started the playoff round had the opportunity to be in play for the Olympics. Hasselborg, as we know, is the Swedish Olympic team. Nina Roth, Christensen hopefuls. Nina, a favorite, I think, to be the U.S. Olympic team. Jones and Carey.
Engelad
wasn't here, but Sherry Madaw, Rock, Anderson, all in the pre-trials.
Right.
So it's been a great week. Let's go down now to Canadian CEO Dan Lucier and the awards presentation.
What a great curling weekend and a nail-biting finish we had. Good evening, my name is Dan Lucier. I'm the CEO of Canadians. On behalf of our entire family, including our general manager here at Canadians Destination Center, Portage la Prairie, and Cindy Carswell, our Vice President, Community Relations, I want to thank all of the curlers for providing us with exciting and world curling during the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic. 32 teams from Manitoba, Canada, USA, Sweden, Scotland, Switzerland, Japan, and China participated during the 4-day event. This year marked the 4th annual of the $60,000 Canadians Women's Classic. Last weekend, Team Carruthers of Manitoba won the 8th annual Canadians Men's Classic for the 2nd year in a row. In early September, Team Chelsea Carey and Colin Hodgson won the 3rd annual Canadians Mixed Doubles Classic. Canadians is proud to bring world curling to the city of Portage la Prairie and the province of Manitoba. Thanks to the Portage Curling Club for hosting us. A big thank you to Farrell Asham and his crew for the great ice. Also, huge thanks to all of our sponsors of the Canadians Classic. And now for the presentations. This year's finalist of the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic, receiving a $10,000 prize, Team Hasselborg from Sweden. Lead Sofia Maybergs, 2nd Agnes Knockenhaver, 3rd Sarah McManus, and skip Anna Hasselborg. Thank you. And the winners of the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic receiving $15,000 from USA, Team Roth. Lead Rebecca Hamilton, 2nd Aileen Geving, 3rd Tabitha Peterson, and skip Nina Roth. Congratulations, Team Roth. Oh, just the players?
Maureen, no matter what Bonspiel it is, whether it's a local Bonspiel or a World Curling Tour event, there's just no feeling like being the team they hand the trophy to.
Oh, for sure. They must be just so pleased with their performance
Once again,
this
on
week.
behalf of Canadians, thank you to all the players, coaches, volunteers, and fans. We look forward to seeing you next year at the 2018 Canadians Classics. Have a good night.
As we're saying, Maureen, no feeling like being the last team standing, no matter what event you're playing in.
Well, for sure. And this field, this 32-team field, was absolutely stellar. There are Olympians, junior world champions, that sort of thing in this type of competition, and you just can't let up. And the Roth team proved today that they were successful in competing and bringing it to fruition on this big win.
So as we started this final game, we were going to have a new champion for the Canadians Women's Classic. Of the teams who started the day, only Jennifer Jones and Chelsea Carey had previously won this event, so either Nina Roth or Anna Hasselborg was going to be a new champion. It turns out to be the team from the Four Seasons in Blaine, Minnesota. Nina Roth and her team, the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic champions. Let's go down to Blair to wrap it up.
Well, that does it for the 2017 Canadians Women's Classic Final. Thank you so much for watching. Our next Shaw TV live broadcast will be the Remembrance Day service on November 11th. You can also check it out on all social media streaming sites as well. Until next time, I'm Blair Malistravich.